Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Happy Thursday.
This is try number 2 because Will didn't hit start on the record.
Oh, you're throwing them under the bus already? It's like that?
We gotta let people know what we're doing.
We did end up going like a good 5 minutes, and Will was just like, "Oh, guys, we're gonna start all over, man."
So it's Thursday morning for the people watching. For us, it's Tuesday morning. And yesterday, we had bombshell.
Big news item.
Bombshell news. The John Durham report has finally released. He's been working on that thing for what, 4 years?
Yeah,
5 years?
4 or 5 years, yeah.
And I remember during the 2020 election, Trump was like, he needs to release the report. He needs to release the report. And he didn't. And then COVID happened, and everything else happened, and somehow now, finally, it is out for the public to look through. And for conservatives out there, not a huge surprise.
Not a huge surprise, a big win, obviously.
But it is validation that we have been gaslit this entire time.
Which is like pretty much the MO of the Democratic, far left all the time. It's always projection, right?
So for the very few of you that may not understand what's going on, in 2016, there was the Russia collusion, right? That Trump colluded with the Russians to win the 2016 election.
Yeah.
And the whole entire time, they said, Trump is working with the Russians, Trump is working with the Russians, Trump is colluding with the Russians, and Trump said, Russia hoax, Russia hoax, Russia, Russia, Russia. And the liberals and the talking heads said, you guys are crazy, Trump is working with the Russians.
Absolutely.
Actually, can you pull up that clip real quick just to give us a gauge of what this was like?
Sort of collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, metal collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, potentially collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian,
Oh, it's like a
collusion.
song.
Trump, Russian, collusion. Trump, Russia, Russian collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russian, possible collusion.
Like a breakdancer.
Russian collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Trump, Russians, collusion.
Collusion with the Russians. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russia, potential collusion. Trump, Russia, potential collusion.
And the Kremlin and be in collusion with Putin and the Kremlin and be in collusion and Putin and the Kremlin and be in collusion.
17 agencies.
17 of our intelligence agencies have confirmed.
17 of them.
Clearly, the talking heads had a very simple sticky note that said Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
And so now we know through the Durham report that number one, Hillary Clinton started the rumor.
Yes. Well, she started the entire process, yeah.
The CIA and the FBI knew there was no evidence to back up her claim. They told Barack Obama. He knew about it. And the entire time, they played along.
Yep.
They told us that Trump was colluding with the Russians, knowing damn well factually that that was not true.
Yes.
They literally looked at the camera on a daily basis for 2 to 3 years. Every single fucking day. And they said, Trump is colluding with the Russians.
It makes you wonder, at least maybe just me, Matt, but it makes me wonder, 40 years from now, are we going to be sitting on old rocking chairs on a porch talking to our grandkids, and when they're asking us questions about, is the media apparatus against us, what are we going to say? Are we going to just be like, bro, this is just the way it's been the whole time? Or are we just going to be so salty and not giving a fuck at that time? Where we're just like, you know what? Welcome to the suck. Welcome to the world, the matrix, where literally, and which is crazy to me. We literally live in a time where we know that they're lying to us, all the talking heads. But what can we do about it, Matt?
Well, people are going into independent reporting.
Yeah.
So there is a movement towards that.
That's fair.
So I think that's something that the people are doing. But It is fighting against the media machine.
And those alternative, independent voices, would you say, in many cases, are just going to get shut down and censored?
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I think Elon is taking a big W with Twitter right now. I think
Is he taking a big W or is he taking a big L with that new CEO? Oh, maybe we shouldn't talk about that just yet. But I'm telling, like, that CEO seems like that CEO is coming from exactly the new world order that we don't want them to come from.
So I think Elon has done a good job so far. He's done a good job with his other companies, and I'm sure he's done his research on her. I think we need to give him the benefit of the doubt. We don't have a reason to doubt him yet. Mm-hmm. He's supposed to be in charge of product moving forward, and she's there to be CEO and help with the marketing and advertisers. So if that's what his goal is, to bring in someone that understands that side of the world, maybe he knows that, that she understands those people also. So you bring in someone from maybe that side.
Maybe. And well, she did work for the World Economic Forum, which is essentially the big bad guy with Klaus Schwab and the New World Order that have the Agenda 2030 that want to make sure that we eat bugs and that we're all living on electricity and these types of things. And so maybe, just maybe, because she was so saturated in that world, she understands how to play that world. Maybe that's it.
Maybe he just wanted to bring in someone that understands that game.
Yeah. It's kind of like Trump in 4D chess, right?
Because she also worked for Trump.
That's right. That's right, too.
So she may be just really good at that game.
Maybe she's just good at the game overall, man.
I mean,
aren't we all just getting played?
She got hired by Elon to be CEO. So, and maybe he wanted to bring in someone that people would argue about. If he brought in someone that's so conservative, then people are like, this is stupid.
Might be the optics might be too conservative.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you bring in someone that both sides just hate a little bit, which is the result of a good deal, right?
Actually,
if both sides are a little bit upset, and both sides are upset over the hiring, so maybe he actually thought about it.
Well, the general conservative position is to not scream and cry and moan and whine and bitch about things. That's usually the left who likes to do that. So the conservative right is, I think, giving her the space to figure out whether she really is the evil that we think she is, potentially.
And it is a privately owned company.
Yes, he can do whatever he wants.
Exactly. She works for him, exclusively for him. So if he doesn't like what she's doing, he can easily remove her.
It's true.
It's not like there's a huge board and shareholders and all these things that everyone's beholden to. So I think there needs to be a little bit of, let's wait and see. That's what I think.
I think that's fair.
So going back to Russia. I have a short list. 10 things that Trump said that we were told was wrong that ended up being true. Let's get some initial reactions to these. The first, obviously, is a Russia hoax, right? He said this is not real. And we were told, just like in those clips, that obviously Trump was colluding with the Russians. We know that it's not true. That's number one. What's the second most important thing that people try to put on Trump for the longest time? That is, Trump needs to release his tax records. Where are Trump's tax returns? That was the biggest news outside of Trump, outside of Russia hoax. Taxes.
Right.
And then they somehow leaked his tax returns.
Somebody leaked it. Yep.
We saw them about 6 months ago, 8 months ago. If you guys don't know, the media never talked about it. Because after everyone dove through it, they did their forensic accounting, they looked deep into it. He's a businessman. He does some great things like most big businessmen do, but nothing blatantly illegal.
It was a nothing burger.
Yes.
Sure.
It was 5 years of release your tax returns, and finally they get it, and then everyone shut up.
Exactly. Because it was a nothing burger. There was nothing there.
He said, I pay my taxes. It was true. He says, I pay a lot of taxes. Ends up being true. Is he creative in his taxes? Everybody is.
If you're at that wealth level, then you have individuals who are sophisticated that can figure out how to reduce your tax liability.
Even if you are a simple contractor 1099, you get creative with your taxes.
Not wrong.
So there was nothing there. The third was that he sexually assaulted women. Right? We had this recent E. Jean Carroll case that he was held liable for.
Which is so crazy.
And this is news everywhere, right?
Yeah.
That he is a rapist.
Yes.
Or he was not found guilty of rape, but found liable of sexual misconduct or whatever.
Yes, which is really ridiculous if you consider the circumstances of all this.
First, I think we need to be clear that they don't mention it, but this trial was a civil trial, not a criminal trial.
Right.
There is very little burden of proof in a civil trial. It's not the same. They don't have to prove that he actually did it.
Right.
They just have to prove that somehow he's liable and we're going to award this woman money.
Right.
That's what happened.
It's kind of like the whole reparations thing going on. It's like, you want to go? Sure. We don't need to get into that, but it's like I just find it so fascinating that we live in a world. You remember the Me Too movement, right?
Yes.
And that was just that took it the whole, believe all women to the extreme. Where now you're making it so you're actually making it worse for women who actually are victims of real sexual assault, real victims of things that have happened to them, and so this woman can just claim that he's done this thing. They find out, through their diligence and all that it didn't happen, but yet she still can sue him for making negative statements about her, even though she's claiming that something happened that didn't actually happen, which is crazy. That's like me blaming you. Hey, you stole my car, and then we find out you didn't steal my car, and then I'm like, well, you talk shit about me on Twitter because you said that I didn't steal your car, so now I'm going to sue you for you getting pissed off at me for making up shit about you. Like that. You can't win in this situation. I only win. I talk shit about you. We find out it's not true, and then you talk shit about me. Then I sue you for that. It's like, what clown fiesta world are we living in, man?
If you are ever stuck in that type of situation, you want to be the accuser.
Clearly. Right? Yeah, you have everything to gain.
Precedence has shown us that the accuser wins, the defendant, the non-guilty defendant, loses every time. Your reputation is ruined, right? All the headlines remain, but the person who does the accusing comes out as a victim of a non-crime, but yet you're a victim, and the other person ruined forever.
It's like the Kyle Rittenhouse thing.
Correct.
He was found not guilty.
Johnny Depp came back.
Well, he's a star. There's a difference. So there's the Kyle Rittenhouse. There's the new one, the Subway guy. I forget his name right now. The guy Neely. So like the media is all about the inverse reality of the people who are actually doing good are the ones who get shamed, lambasted, destroyed, reputation, the perception, the optics are against them, and the perpetrator, the one who's doing the killing, or the one that's doing all the negativity, they're the one that are raised up as some sort of hero.
Yeah.
What is going on, Matt?
The accusation is hot. It gets trending. People talk about it. All the news clip it. But the decision and the not guilty verdict is a footnote in history.
Do you think these types of precedents, these types of patterns that we see in the news media, and certainly our judicial system, which is completely broken, do you think that is the reason why we're seeing more? Because you posted a video on Discord earlier, but do you think that's why even more and more people are not willing to step in and help? People are no longer willing to actually do the chivalrous thing, do the right thing, because they know that doing the right thing in today's America doesn't pay. It's like never worth it.
It's the idea that, summer of 2020, during all the rioting, the police did not want to chase the bad guys.
Of course they wouldn't. Because
you would end up in social media, you would end up in the news as the bad guy. No one wants to risk being that person.
That's crazy. We live in a crazy world, man.
So there is no incentive to do the right thing any longer. if you go out of your way, risk maybe your life, risk your well-being to help others, you have only to lose and nothing to gain.
Man, I feel like we should sit on this topic because it's the ramifications of this long term are absolutely outstanding. We're gonna have an entire generation of postgraduate kids who are getting out of college, high school, and they have been inundated by this behavior pattern and perception of reality where it is no longer valuable for them to do anything good in the public eye. Or because the chances of them getting labeled as a terrorist or something like this is high these days. Like, you just can't win.
And there is so much value in being the guy that stops and records.
Yes.
There is so much social value
Oh, yeah.
in having that viral video. I would rather have the video than be an actor in real life. Instead of getting involved, I'd rather be the guy that shoots it. There's no risk to me, no risk to my own health, and huge upside.
Huge upside.
Huge upside.
Yeah. Because you could go viral. You could make money on that.
Correct. Maybe you pick up a bunch of followers and then you build off of that. Who knows? Everyone's looking for that moment.
They're so fucking shallow.
And I think that's the biggest problem because every time you see these videos of some sort of violence going on, right, where someone could step in and help, nobody does because everyone's busy holding the phone.
I know, man.
And you don't need like 100 or 1,000 angles of the same event. If one guy's recording, like it's being recorded, you could step in and help.
Yes, but the news media likes the multiple angles.
Exactly. I need my angle, because what if my clip's on that go viral?
Yes, exactly.
What if CNN or Fox News puts my tag
And
on TV?
And a bad part about even collecting the footage is in many cases the news media will clip only the pertinent parts of that clip that serves their narrative, and they won't show the entire context, right? So the Neely case, we saw people recording that it wasn't just this Neely guy. There was other people of color that were helping out, that were, making sure, helping Neely reduce this guy down to not being a threat, and yet we don't see any of that. It's always going to be, bad, white man bad, black man good type thing.
Which is crazy, right? Which goes on to, I guess, the next one, which is that everyone said that Trump was a racist.
Yes.
Racist. Trump's racist. MAGA Republicans, racist. Trump, racist, right? It's another one of these talking points that we heard. And I've searched, and I think a lot of people have shared the same sentiment. Search the internet to look for a clip where Trump said something blatantly racist, and it doesn't exist.
Yeah, you actually only come up with Biden saying racist things.
It just doesn't exist. It's not out there.
Projection is the narrative.
All the Trump is racist clips are someone telling you that Trump is racist.
Yeah.
With all of these cameras trying to capture the moment. Imagine if you could be the guy that captured Trump saying something racist.
Truly racist.
That would be like the most viral clip, and now you have real value.
That's gold.
Right? Yeah. So if people are willing to videotape a random person beating up another random person in the street, how much more willing are you to capture Trump talking? In case he says it.
In case he slips up, of course.
But he hasn't.
He hasn't.
Of all those cameras, all those angles, and all these people that have this motive to have you and catch you in that gotcha moment.
And 30 plus years of being in the spotlight.
And being all over TV.
Yeah.
Being all over the internet, before the internet, in his books and his speaking engagements. I mean, he's been everywhere.
Yeah.
This guy's it's not like Trump came out of nowhere. He's been popular forever. And over all those years to not have a clip of him. I mean, really? People are like, oh, but he took a picture on Cinco de Mayo with a taco salad. I don't know if that counts.
That sounds like a Kamala thing to do, actually. Didn't she talk about the breakfast? No, that was Jill Biden talking about the breakfast tacos.
The breakfast tacos
at the Mexican place or something like that. Like the obtuseness of these creatures, these cretins, I'll tell you. But what's really interesting is if you actually ever search for Trump and black people, you'll find a lot of pictures because he's a New Yorker.
Yeah.
In the 80s, 90s, he used to be like king in the black culture. They used to respect him. right? He used to do a lot of good there. And not just the black culture, there's Asian culture, et cetera, et cetera. But like, he is a businessman. Good businessmen do not look at the color of your skin.
Don't care.
They look at the economics of the deal.
Correct.
Right? And Trump, whether you love him or hate him, if you can concede the fact that he's a good businessman and that logic follows, then there's no way that he would be able to succeed in the way that he has by limiting himself by being a racist. It doesn't make any sense.
And people,
It's bad for business.
the other side will argue that Trump is not a good businessman because he's had businesses that he went bankrupt.
Have you had businesses fail?
I don't think you understand how business works.
Yeah, you clearly don't. For people who are like, oh, you failed a business, that's actually part of business, is you fail.
There are Trump hotels all over the world.
Yes.
I've stayed at a lot of them.
I've stayed at a couple too.
They are phenomenal.
They're amazing.
I stayed at the Trump Hotel in Soho once.
Really?
Yes. Which is a weird place to be, right? The Trump Soho Hotel. And it was phenomenal. Every single piece of furniture in our room was Fendi.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
The bed, the rug, all the little trinkets, everything was
makes sense.
Fendi. I was
That
like,
makes
oh,
sense.
this is
It's so-
gangster.
Have you seen the Trump Hotel in Vegas? It literally is a golden building.
Yes.
It's just a giant schlong of a
It's a
building.
hotel and no casino.
Yeah.
Which I like too.
It's just focused on the experience of being well served in an amazing hotel experience. It's this, you guys can Google it. Google Trump Hotel Vegas. It's literally a golden building that looks like a golden phallic symbol in the middle of nowhere. Well, it's not in the middle of nowhere, but it's just going in there. They have great service. The people are smiling. They care about you. They're glad that you're here. It's a great hotel experience.
He runs a really tight ship in his hotels.
He does. He does.
And I go down and we stay at Trump Doral every once in a while in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think that Trump hotels are mostly like old white people. And then you go to Trump Doral and you're at the pool and it's really diverse.
Oh yeah. Actually, one of the craziest things I remember talking about this with my wife is how diverse the Trump Hotel in Vegas was. And this, of course, is Vegas. It's a melting pot, kind of. Is we actually saw more black people and people of color in that Trump Hotel when we were there than white people.
Because people want to go stay in the Trump Hotel.
It's a quality experience.
Yeah.
They want quality experiences. They're willing to pay for it.
I don't think he's a racist. I don't think there's any evidence to prove that he was.
It would be a bad. It would show his unsophisticatedness if he were to be a racist. There's just no way that he could be this successful as a businessman and be racist at the
Because
same
I think we both agree that he is a good businessman. Because if anything, he is the best at marketing his own name.
Yeah.
He sells rights to his name to hotels and buildings throughout the world.
So-
There's a Trump building in Korea that he doesn't even own. They just license his
They
name.
licensed his name. Yes.
Correct.
It's
So
in
there's
Seoul.
so much value in just his name.
I don't think it's in Gangnam. I think it's in Shincheon.
It is.
Is it in Shincheon?
It's
forget.
like it's south of the Han River. It's in between Gangnam, Apgujeong, somewhere in that area.
Okay.
I forget exactly where it is,
Yeah.
but
But let me ask you a very simple question for the audience out there, just for your perspective. Would you be okay with people online, not that their opinions matter, but would you be okay, Matt, people online saying that you're a failed businessman, but you have multiple hotels all over the world? Would you give a fuck?
no.
Exactly. People don't realize what it takes, man. Like he has all these hotels, he's got all these businesses, and yes, he's failed on some. That's part of the entrepreneurial experience, man.
And he's still going.
And he's still going.
And there is no signs of him stopping.
So if you take that hard work ethic of an entrepreneurial spirit, someone who's willing to build businesses with the risk of losing hundreds of millions of dollars in these investments, do you think that type of character is better suited to be our commander-in-chief than someone who's been a lifelong politician who's never actually held a job? Who's never actually held a job, has never actually been on the hook to create profitability, right? And that's one of the biggest problems with lifelong politicians is they've never actually been profitable.
Correct. Well, the same idea of business school teachers. They don't make their money by doing business. They make their money by teaching business because themselves can never be successful in business.
Exactly. And that's why most university professors end up becoming radicalized, because they're so salty that they're teaching the theory of success, but they themselves have never actually had success. And so the answer is communism.
A little bit bitterness, underlying bitterness.
The answer is communism, clearly.
Because they teach kids, and these kids go out and make big business, and they're like, why not me? It's because you're just not good at it.
Because you're not good. Yeah, you're not good at it. And you're stuck in this university professor position where you have the golden handcuffs and you're not actually out in the world, but you think that you deserve that. That's the problem.
Okay, next one. Trump said he's going to build a wall. He's going to build a wall because through the border, we are getting a rush of drugs, criminals, terrorists. And that you need a wall, you need a border, you need strict border security so that you can protect. A country without a border is not a country, is what he said. Biden came in and said, we like people coming in.
Yeah. We like people coming in because it increases his voter base.
And now the border is a mess. And that's an understatement.
But I think it's always been a mess.
I don't think it's been to this degree.
I think there's a lot of heightened optics around it for sure. And maybe there's some political reasons that we have this massive influx of immigrants that want to get into America. Yes, potentially. But I think it's always been bad. I think it's been wholly
caravans of people.
Yes. Now, so let's create a scenario here, because I actually was talking about this with one of my friends, colleagues. Let me ask you this. If you were running a country, so very minimal context here. If you were running a country, Matt, and there was about 500,000 middle-aged men waiting at the border of your country, how would you see that? Does that sound like an invasion? Does that sound like a problem? Does that sound like that your country could be in a position of weakness? I mean, what would you say? That's the only context. I mean, you run a country, and there's 500,000 middle-aged men from 18 to 35 that are pushing and jostling to try to get into your country because of some sort of, let's say, political loophole that might avail them the opportunity to do so. What would you do as a leader? How would you see that? Would you see it as an invasion? Would you see it as an opportunity? How would you, Matt? How would you consider that?
It's extremely concerning. You cannot let people just come and go as they please. There needs to be rule and order, and this is something that we talk about in this podcast often. The idea that rules need to mean something, because without a rule that being enforced, it's no longer a rule. It's a suggestion, right? You can't let men and 500,000 men just rush through the border without knowing who they are. It's dangerous. You have to protect your own.
Kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense that you would want to know who these 500,000 plus people of fighting age in their prime of their lives, why they care so much about wanting to come in, and why now.
And obviously we are children of immigrants or have immigrated in here in one way, shape, or form.
Legally.
But we're not, our families are not from here.
No.
I am not, my lineage does not start in the United States. Right?
You think?
But there's a way to do it, And if the idea is that we want to open up America to more people, then just start letting more people come in legally. That's the most obvious, logical solution.
That sounds very logical, Matt.
Don't just have people bum rush. If you're having a concert, you can't just let people go in. Everyone has a ticket.
Oh, you mean...
If you want more people in your concert, create standing room. Sell standing room tickets.
Oh.
Create situations where people can get their way in.
So what you're saying is that the wall is a mechanism to understand the individual on the other side of the wall and their intentions before you allow them entrance in.
Because after January 6th, Congress did put up a wall around the Capitol building.
And yes.
To keep people out, maybe?
It seemed a little odd. Actually, that reminds me of the inaugural address to the nation, which was the lowest attended inauguration of all time. There was military type walls and barriers around everything. It almost looked like a end of the world type scenario where, you know, what's that one movie like something has fallen, like the Capitol has fallen or something like this, where, you know, the entire White House is protected by armed guards and all this stuff. We live in this weird reality now where we're not allowed to have a border wall around our country, but yet every other rich person that hates America has walls around their houses.
And we will send billions of dollars to Ukraine to protect their border.
Which is always fascinating to me whenever I talk to people about
Other people's borders are fucking important.
Yeah, but not ours.
Ours,
We can
like
go,
it's racist. It's racist to have a wall. It's racist to have an actual physical border. But if another country were to encroach on another country's border, let's give them billions.
exactly
Billions.
of our tax money. Absolutely. It's kind of the same idea with people who are non-Second Amendment supporters, right? They'll say guns are terrible. Then why are you okay with sending all of your tax money to arm other people?
Correct. To buy guns.
To buy guns to arm them. Like, what's the deal? Ugh, the amount of cognitive dissonance in today's America is crazy.
The only people that want to take the guns are the people that have hired someone with guns.
Yes.
All right? They don't need guns.
The
They
irony is
hired
thick.
someone
Exactly.
to hire guns. I will give up my guns when they give up their guns first. If the people in charge couldn't come to me with their guns, I would consider giving up mine. If I knew that they were taking the guns away from the bad guys, I would consider giving up mine.
Oh, man.
Don't force me to be the first person to give up mine. It makes no sense.
I hope you have a solution for finding all those bad guys with guns.
Hypothetically.
Yes.
Hypothetically. Which is why the whole gun thing is a hypothetical situation that can never happen. You can never take all the guns from all the bad people. It's just not possible. You don't even know where they're out there.
I feel like there's a statistic. I might be making it up, Will, but I feel like it might be over exaggerating this, but I feel like I read something a while ago that said that America holds like 25% of all the guns in the world or something like that, which is a good thing if you think about it.
Yeah. If
It's
you're
good to
looking
have. It's good to have this many armed citizens.
if you were looking at world geopolitics, makes sense. The reason the Second Amendment exists is not to actually protect ourselves from each other, is to protect ourselves from the government.
Exactly.
And U.S. citizens own 40% of all guns in the world.
Yes. I love this. I don't know about you, Matt. I don't know about you, Will, but I love seeing this. U.S. citizens own 40% of all the guns in the world. Amen. Let's make it 50%.
And again,
let's make it higher.
We own the guns to protect ourselves from tyrannical governments.
Exactly.
That's why the Second Amendment exists, so that they can't come and impose their will on us. That's why it's there. That's why militias are allowed.
Exactly.
Because constitutionally allowed. Because if the government gets out of control and they overstep, which they're borderline getting right now, and I say borderline very loosely, that's why the Second Amendment grants us the ability and the right to bear arms.
Here's a question. When do you think they step over that line?
I mean, depending on what we're talking about, we would argue that they've overstepped those lines many times already.
So are they using a tactic of slowly disintegrating our will over time, where the guns that don't actually matter because we continually give up our rights based on these emergency decisions that the government makes?
Yeah, they want to take your guns so that they can impose even more power and more will on you.
So where's the line? When do American citizens get to a point where it's like, things are really fucked up right now, and until we actually say no, or until we actually stand up, like, they're just going to keep whittling away at all of our rights until we truly are Chinese slaves. Like, what is it going to take? Because the problem is America is so decentralized in all this huge landmass that we have. We have 50 states that are all run independently. You understand my point. And the citizenry, because they're so decentralized from a citizen standpoint, other than the cities, like the ability to create glue that connects all the citizens to be like, look, we've had enough of this bullshit. I think the decentralized nature of the American citizenry in America is too decentralized for us to actually get to a point where people will amalgamate and actually come together in a unified force. I just don't ever see it happening, Matt. I just cannot conceive of a reality where that happens.
So I think they said that if Trump were to get elected, that it would create some sort of civil war.
Yes, I remember that being a hot topic for
That
months.
was a big thing, that he's going to divide the country. Actually, the country did really well under him. What would happen if we actually got into a place of actual civil war, where the right and the left and the right states, Texas is going to put on their ballot, I think in 2024, 2025, 2026, something coming up to succeed from the United States. They're going to put on their ballot to vote on
They
it.
actually have that in their Texas, I'm going to say this wrong, but their Texas bylaws or the Texas founding laws that they have the optionality to secede from America if it gets too bad, yes.
And is there a situation where the United States could become like EU, where it's different countries?
I'm coming from a place of ignorance, Matt, but I actually have a strong opinion about this. Completely ignorant. I think it's a great idea. I think it to be a great idea for each state to. It sounds maybe some people will blame me for being anti-American, but fuck off. Again, I'm coming from a place of ignorance, but man, like I think about Georgia and where we live. I love Georgia. I don't know about you.
I love Georgia.
I love Georgia.
If I could live anywhere in this country, I would stay exactly where I'm at.
And you've traveled the world too.
Yes.
You've seen the world. I've seen the world.
I've been everywhere.
Yeah. So we know what the world looks like. Like we're not the ignorant, generalized American who's literally never gone more than 20 miles radius outside their home. And I'll tell you, Georgia's an amazing place to live.
Love
got
it here.
Great. It's great people, slower living. Taxes are lower. You got access to mountains. You got access to beaches. You got access to different food. The food isn't that great. But like if Georgia were to secede and to create its own country, I would totally support that, Matt.
So would I. I would have no problem with that. I think it would be more regional,
Yeah.
but I don't think it'd be state-based, but more regional. I think the real problem is that the federal government has too much power, and we've talked about this before. They overstep their bounds. The power needs to go back to the states, where the federal government is more of a managing role, not a leadership role. Right now, they dictate the policy of the country.
That's a good way of putting it.
The states need to dictate their own policy based on their own electorate, based on the people that actually live there.
Yeah.
Let the people of Georgia decide how people of Georgia live.
Yes.
And the federal government should be there just to help settle disputes among states, help maybe overall budget of interstate type things, maybe maintain military because that would be international.
That's a shared value.
But as far as how the people live within that state should be run by the people that live in that state.
100%.
We give too much power to the federal government, and these people sit in their little shadowy rooms within Washington, D.C., have a complete disconnect with the people that they represent. They don't even represent them. They represent themselves.
Yeah.
And we are expected to just blindly comply to the decisions they make in the shadows. It's bullshit.
It is complete bullshit. The legislators and our representatives today do not, and I think I would take anyone to task for this, do not represent the people. They represent corporate interests.
Correct.
And number two, I heard this on a podcast once, and it rung so true to me, is that because the government has so much power over the states these days, and we've allowed that to happen, and a big problem of legislating the way that they do is they force the cities, they force the policies of cities onto the rest of America. We saw this on lockdown. It's like, okay, just because you're New York City or you're LA or San Francisco, right, or Washington, D.C., does not make that the example group for everybody else, right? If you're in New York, go do your New York thing. We're down here in Georgia. You can't force Georgians to behave and react the same way as New Yorkers do during your particular issues. That's the problem, is that we have policies that really stem from the context of cities that are put in onto regular rural Americans or country Americans who have no bearing or context to city life, and they don't give a fuck about what you do in the city. Because in most cases, if you're living in a city, you're not actually producing any value.
I thought how Brian Kemp handled COVID for Georgia was remarkable. I thought he did a good job comparatively to other states.
We were a little bit more free for sure.
People always talk about DeSantis and how he handled COVID, but people forget he was really wishy-washy. Let's close the beaches, open the beaches, close the beaches, wear a mask at the beach, close them, open them, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. In Georgia, we closed down, we opened up, and that was it.
Yep.
He said, each town or each district, each county, you guys decide how you want to handle schools. If the people in that town, in that area want to close the schools, you guys close the schools. If you want to open the schools, open the schools. He gave power to the local governments to decide what their people wanted.
And that's the way it should be.
Some areas of Georgia never closed down their schools.
They didn't.
Some areas, in the more liberal areas, they closed down their schools. It was their decision.
Yep.
I really liked how he handled that. And he is flying so under the radar.
Yeah.
Not many people talk about Kemp.
That's true. It's almost one of those things where no news is good news.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you kind of want some good news because it's being overshadowed by all these knuckleheads and retards who are getting all the news media coverage, and they're not doing anything important.
So interesting thought I had, something I discussed with Will the other day. What if Donald Trump, in running for president, comes in and picks Brian Kemp as VP?
You want to know my knee-jerk reaction to that? That's a terrible proposition from Brian Kemp.
Okay.
Because he's going to be slung through the mud. And why would you want to sign up for some shit like that?
So we know that Georgia is a pain point for the Trump campaign. Georgia loves Brian Kemp. He won his governor re-election in a landslide.
Yes, he did.
Not even close.
Not even close.
David Perdue, who was his Republican counterpart, not even a chance. He steamrolled everybody.
Yeah.
He was really smart. When the gas prices were astronomical, instantly he said, Georgia, we are no longer going to collect tax on gas. Instantly lowered our gas rate by 15, 20 cents.
Exactly.
Just like that.
I remember.
He also said, do you know what? These gun laws are bullshit. Open carry, everybody.
Yes.
And people in Georgia who are the really conservative base are like, yeah, fuck yeah, this guy. And he did all of this without going through the news cycle. He just did it.
He just did it.
Trump could use a guy like him, who's handled things very well, who's extremely popular but not polarizing, in a state that he really does need.
Yes, everything you say I agree with. I think Brian Kemp could be a good running mate. The problem is our news media is so flagrant that they would they would dig up shit on Kemp that you and I have never knew about, don't give a fuck about, but are forced down our throats to care about because of something that happened in 1989 that he did. You know, that's the problem with our news media, is that a good man or a good woman moving into politics immediately gets mud slung in their face, and we're forced to consume all these negative stories about someone that we somewhat respected, but at the same time didn't know all the details about.
Whoever Trump's running mate is going to be in 2024 is going to be the front runner to be president for the next 8 years.
You think so?
Yes.
You think it's that strong?
Yes.
So who do you think is Trump's best viable running mate now?
DeSantis.
You think so?
Kemp.
Ooh, really?
Yes. I think Kemp is the dark horse that no one talks about, which is why it makes him more interesting.
Ooh, you heard it here first, guys.
Yeah.
You heard it here first on the Matt Kim
I
podcast.
think the other side, if he went to maybe a Tulsi Gabbard,
that's what I was going to say, Tulsi.
who's interesting, but she would get him votes in areas that he can't win anyway.
Can I say something off topic? I saw Tulsi Gabbard's like Instagram the other day? Do you know she has Instagram?
Okay.
You know she works out?
Yeah. She looks good.
She's kind of cute, man.
Yeah. She looks good. She knows what she's doing.
She knows what she's doing. She's got the whole rogue hair, white hair thing going on. She's doing her lunges and her kettlebell stuff. I was like, okay, like there's nothing wrong with this. This is a good way to engage, show your humanity to the public.
Well, she's from Hawaii. Oh, there she is.
She is
Doing her thing.
Like. Come on, respect, man.
Yeah.
Respect.
Seriously.
When was the last time you gonna see a Dianne Feinstein doing something like this? she looks like the Sith Lord. Have you seen those memes, Will, of like Dianne? She looks like the Sith Lord for like Darth Vader. Oh shit, had me cracking up when she was like, "Argh."
All right, let's power through a couple more of these. Trump said that the media was fake news. Fake news, fake news, fake news.
We know
I don't think we need to go too deep in that. At this point, if you watched this podcast before, we talk about that every week. The media is just propaganda.
It is. But are we going to live in a world where in 40 years, let's go back to this example, Matt. In 40 years, are we going to live in a world where we're going to look back at this and still be talking to motherfuckers who are our age at 60, 70 years old, and they're still not going to believe that it's all propaganda? It's so fucking obvious. I just cannot imagine meeting people today who I say, hey, what do you think about CNN? And they have positive things to say. It's like, bro, where the fuck have you been?
I think things are in a cycle. And at a certain point, the media has to go back and do a little bit less propaganda, a little bit more news. And then people start to trust them again because people's memory is very short. And then you trust them and you trust them. All of a sudden, it's a little bit more propaganda, a little more propaganda.
Rug pull you again.
And then they go deep again and then they retract and they go. So it's just ebb and flow.
Okay.
So I think there are generations that are going to say news is fine. And maybe during their time, news was fine. And then it's going to go back to, no, they're feeding us bullshit. It's pandemic of the unvaccinated. We're going to hear that shit, right?
Man, I saw a supercut of so much negativity of the talking heads saying that, yes, all the people, it was that's right. Horse shit. It's amazing what they're able to get away with these days, man. They can completely lie to our faces and no one gives a fuck.
Okay. So 2020, Trump also said that COVID wasn't as bad as we were told.
Mm-hmm.
The criticism of Trump is that he downplayed COVID.
He downplayed it, and he also towed the line a little bit.
Correct.
Right.
And he said that businesses should be open and kids should go to school.
He did say that, yeah.
And at that time, the liberal media said, you're killing people.
Yes. Trump's the reason why.
Are you going to be all those debts are going to be on your head, is what they said.
Exactly.
Fuck, he was right about that too, wasn't he?
He was?
Like, not kind of right, like
he was
so right.
Now reportedly, even by the CDC, which is really amazing that the CDC is actually willing to report on this stuff, is that truly, the ones who are still being the greatest affected are the ones that are vaccinated, yeah.
Because, see, the government, they try to manipulate the way you see things in real time. But once data comes out, history comes out, people experiences come out, they can't just straight lie to you forever. They have to eventually release what's really going on. It's always after the fact. It's when it's too late.
Yes.
But they concede.
And it's almost at that point inconsequential.
Correct. Which is what they're doing.
Exactly.
Like, oh yeah, maybe the vaccines were great after we forced everyone to get them.
Yes, exactly. And there's been a lot of backtracking from the talking heads to say, well, we didn't force you.
Correct.
This was the Trudeau thing.
Yeah.
Did you see that clip?
Which is crazy.
Man, I am not the type of person that generally allows supercuts to get me upset. But that Trudeau supercut, I got upset for a brief moment in time.
It's the one where it's him saying, you have to get it, you're killing people if you don't get it, etc., blah, blah, blah.
We should shame them.
And then it goes to him now saying, oh, like, you didn't have to get it.
We didn't force you, is what he said.
It was optional.
It was optional. It's like, well, wait. You're telling me I couldn't go to school, I couldn't get public services or access to public services here, I couldn't go to the airport, I couldn't, like, complete bullshit. And yet the Canadians are so nice, maybe, that they're not up in arms about this. I can't believe we live in a world like that, man.
They think we are so stupid. That's what it is. They will blatantly lie to you, not like we can't fact check them and pull up all the receipts.
Yes, just like Trump did in the recent thing. He
Which
pulled
was
out the receipt.
fucking hilarious.
That was awesome, by the way, when he was...
In the CNN town hall.
Are we going to talk about that? Because that CNN town hall was a flaming pile of dog shit for CNN. They got roasted.
He did really well.
Oh, he crushed it.
He crushed it.
They can't let him speak uncensored for that long.
And CNN actually crushed it. Because they did, I think, 3-point-something million viewers live.
It was their best viewage in years.
Yeah. So if you're the CEO of CNN and your goal is to get more eyes on your product, huge win for him.
Yeah, they should host him every week.
And the CNN talking heads lost their shit.
They lost their shit. Absolutely.
But as a company, crushed it. Best idea he's ever had.
Yeah.
Because again, if you're in charge of a business and your goal is to get eyes on your product, he achieved that goal.
Oh, yeah.
Bad press is good press.
Not wrong.
And kind of crushed it there.
He did. So COVID, Trump.
Trump said that COVID came from China and that it came from the lab.
He did say that.
And they said this guy is crazy.
Yes. Conspiracy theorist, all the bad words.
And
yes.
anyone that agreed with him was xenophobic, racist.
Exactly.
Well, we kind of know what happened there too.
Yeah. Gain of function research. It's pretty clear that the U.S. government and the CDC and the National Institute for Health, NIH, they were all in the game. There's emails that show that they were like, what the fuck is going on? There's no way that this could be a natural occurrence. It was lab grown. And then suddenly the narrative shifts and it's not lab grown. It's not out of Wuhan. It's some wet market. Yeah. Bat in a wet market soup. Some lady who ate a bat in some soup or some shit like that.
January 6th, they said it was a insurrection and that Trump incited the violence.
Yes.
We've all seen the videos now. We've all seen the receipts.
Yep.
It's not what happened.
No way.
It was a protest that went out of control with several bad actors.
Yes.
It was not a organized insurrection.
It was not.
We are very clear on that. However, they impeached him for a second time for that alone. Mm-hmm. And he said, perfect.
Yeah.
How many things is he going to get blamed for? And how many things, if we agree with any of these things that we're vilified for, have to come true before like, fuck. What the hell's going on?
It seems like the technocrats and the media apparatus is very much against this man. Now, why is that? Why is everyone against the yellow man, orange man bad?
Because it has been the same group of people in power for years. The Bushes, both Bushes, Clinton, Obama, Biden, they're all the same. It doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat.
Yeah,
they're from the same establishment group.
Yeah.
It's just a different person playing for a different team.
Some
They're
would-
the same group.
Yeah. Some would say that Obama's in his 10th year.
King Obama.
Seriously.
They are all the same. Mm-hmm. One outsider came in. They had no idea this guy could ever win. Somehow he won, and it just flipped the whole establishment upside down. And they've devoted their lives to destroy this guy from day one. Why? Because we know that the entire premise of the Russian collusion, that everything that Trump said ended up being true, that they collaboratively lied to us straight to our face. Mm-hmm. Just destroy one man.
And what is going to happen to all those liars, Matt?
Nothing.
So isn't that grating on your nerves? Doesn't that crop up a sense of injustice in your gut?
So, what happens knowing what we know and Trump knowing what he knows, that he was kind of done dirty, right?
Yeah. Oh,
he
sure.
knows that to his core.
He was dragged through the mud.
If he were to win again, what is he going to do? Knowing that he doesn't even have to try to get elected another time. That's it. He has 4 years left.
Yeah.
And then he sails off into the wind. What is he going to do?
Do you think he's going to be vindictive?
I think he fucking tears it all down.
Do you think he burns the house down?
I think so.
Really?
I think that's what, if anyone votes for Trump, I think that's why they vote for Trump. Ooh. So much corruption, so much known corruption that it's not even a secret anymore. It's not even conspiracy theory anymore. We know these things to be true.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that we talked about today, this entire list is factual, right? Proven now.
Proven. Yeah.
After the fact.
Yeah.
You got to burn it down.
Oh, man, it's interesting. It's for all the spectrum of thoughts that I have around this, the way that you put that puts in me for the really kind of the first time, like that's why someone would vote for Trump.
Correct. If you're sick of the establishment, if you're sick of being lied to, if you're sick of these shady ass people lurking in the shadows, dictating how you live your life and creating these narratives to destroy you for their own personal benefit and gain. If you don't like that anymore, this is your only option.
Yeah.
This is the only guy that's going to be willing to go after these guys. And whether or not he's successful is a completely different story. That's the next chapter of life, right? We don't know if he's even going to be able to do what he wants to do or says he does. We don't know what kind of forces will gather up against him in his second term.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Right?
I'm right.
We don't know if he fucking survives. He may get assassinated, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He may become another JFK.
He might be
JFK won and burned that shit down. And somehow...
Well, this recent JFK, you've probably heard, talking about that he is very convinced that the three-letter agencies are the conspirators who killed his family member, Kennedy. And I feel like... So let me back up a second. What are Trump currently? What is he running on? Like, what's his initiatives that he's focusing on? I feel like. Give me a second. I feel like I don't know what his issues are because the greater narrative is that there's a swamp that we need to implode. Is that what he's running on for his ticket? Is like
his talking point is "Make America Great Again," as it always is. Again, greatest political slogan ever. What he really wants to do, I think what people expect him to do, is to blow that shit up.
Really?
Not in a physically blow it up. YouTube, we're not saying actually blow it up.
Yeah, dismantle.
Dismantle it. Clean out the swamp. Something that he promised to do his first term that he didn't really do. But I give him a little bit of leeway. I don't think he understood how it really works there, how deep this thing goes.
Yeah.
And it took time. And he was not ready for the barrage of impeachment and trials and everyone fighting against him. I don't think he was ready for that. I don't think he knew that's what happened. I think he thought when he becomes president, he's in charge. And he showed up and he's like, fuck, I am not in charge.
Yeah, there's a lot of Brutuses out here that want to backstab me.
But now he knows. So what does that do? I don't think he does it the same. This time he does it differently. Because he's smart.
Yeah,
he's a smart guy.
He's a smart guy. I don't think it's actually plausible that he could do it the same. I think he has woken up himself, and now from to this next election cycle, he'll have essentially his entire presidency was just rife with just cock blocks all over the place. Like the man couldn't get shit done because everyone was piling all this dog shit on him. So for, let's just say 3 years out of his 4 years of presidency, he was just almost constrained to being ineffective.
Correct.
Now, moving into the next term, which is Biden, he'll have another 4 years of experience. He's down 2 now already with Biden, but 4 more years. So that's 7 years of completely understanding the shadiness, the degeneracy, and the absolute just hypocrisy and propaganda machine that's been against him. I think so that's 7 years of experience. If he gets elected in this next cycle, I think you're exactly right. Being berated and trying to be personally destroyed for essentially 8 years of your life, and you're elected for another 4, I'm sure I'd feel like he'd want to burn the ship down too.
And I'm not saying that we all love everything Trump has done. In any leader, there are things you like and things you don't like. But if you really are sick of the way things are being done, if you're sick of being lied to constantly, if you're told that you can't see your family, but those people can see their own, there's no other option. There's no option B. You either want someone that's willing to at least try to break it apart or at least disturb it a little bit enough, or whoever else is going to be just another guy compliant to the system in place. Do you at least want to try to shake things up? That's your only option.
Makes me think about that viral clip of that farmer guy who blew up the hornet's nest with dynamite. Did you see that? Like, that's what Trump needs to do. He needs to blow up the hornet's nest with dynamite and just have it just explode all over the place. The question, I think, as we're in this context in this topic, Matt, I think if he gets elected, I think it'll be the most trying 4 years of American politics, policy, in our society, because if he fails, like if he doesn't,
We're done.
Yeah, if he doesn't do what people voted him in for, just dismantle the problems. If he toes the line, becomes a sock puppet for the World Economic Forum, or becomes a sock puppet for the the New World Order, like, I think you're not only going to have a ton of disgruntled voters who voted him in, but that disgruntledness might end up just boiling over, right, into some crazy anarchy. Because, like, how many times can a poor, lower middle class white guy be rug pulled before he's like, you know what? I got 15 AKs in the back and I'm pissed off. Like, y'all done fucked me too much.
I think if Trump wins, then he doesn't achieve what we all hope that he achieves. I think that's it. We are going to be beholden to the liberal masters of our world and society, the people who lurk in the shadows, the establishment, the swamp, whatever we want to call them. They're going to win forever.
You think so?
This is the last shot.
So we'll end up eating mosquito bug burgers?
Everything that we are worried that could happen to our futures, it's guaranteed to happen if he does not have a chance to at least try to disrupt their way of what they want to do.
15-minute cities eating bug burgers, man.
That's it.
No
That's
cars. You'll own nothing and be happy is how it works, right?
Correct. And they will just automatically deduct it from you. We will be on a social credit system.
Oh, shit.
We will have no money, right?
Yeah.
It's just every dystopian movie, sci-fi movie you've ever seen where it ends up badly, it's going to be there. And we are going to be the people that are just plugged in like this.
Really?
That's what they want. We already know that's what they want.
Of course they want.
And the only person that's in their way is this fucking orange man that just keeps on. It's like
fucking orange.
It's like a thorn in their side.
Oh yeah.
Right. This guy just won't go away.
Yeah.
And they impeached him, and they thought he'd go away, and they impeached him again. They thought he'd go away, and then they took an election from him, allegedly, and he wouldn't go away. And then they accused him of tax fraud and sexual assault and rape and finance problems and colluding with the enemy and all of this shit. And he's still around. And not only is he around, he's more popular than he's ever been.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck do we do with this guy? Public enemy number one for the establishment.
And if you think about it, the worst thing they could do is make a martyr out of him.
Correct.
Because you don't want to kill the messenger.
No.
Right? Because that actually creates bigger problems.
That's what they thought until that becomes the only solution.
You think so?
I mean, that's what they
Because
did to JFK.
if they were to, let's just say, Arkansas him, they were to Clinton him, Epstein him.
JFK him.
Yeah, JFK him. If they were to Epstein him, that vacuum, that void would just, I mean, you would have this huge vacuum of just discontent and people just being egregiously upset. I think we would see.
They've done it before, because JFK was loved. When I was younger, all the older generation, they always said, "Where were you when JFK was shot?"
Yep.
It used to be a thing.
Yeah, used to
And
be a thing.
young guys don't understand. The older generation used to say that everyone knows where they were.
Exactly.
For us, where were you when 9/11 happened?
Yeah, 9/11.
That's our thing.
Yeah, that's our thing.
The next generation is going to be, where were you when people, the establishment is so good as, hey, look, something shiny over here. Look at this instead. And you forget. You forget. And they're back to it. How it goes, I don't know. We went through 10 things that Trump said that was correct, that they said he was lying, that he's incorrect, that ended up being true.
Vindicated.
The last thing that has not yet settled yet
Oh,
is the election. He will not give that up.
Will, can you look this up? I saw a article that said that like 65% of Americans, I'm probably getting this wrong, so you're going to look it up. 65% of Americans think this election was stolen or something like this. And the stats are only slowly going up and up and up and up.
Because when they say this is false, ends up being true. This is false, this is being true. False, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true. And all of a sudden, but this one's the real false one.
It's kind of like the whole history of the CIA, where the CIA committed atrocities against Americans in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
It was 2022.
That's 2022.
40% of Americans think
That's
2020 was
okay,
which is still a lot.
Which is still a lot. But now we're in 2023.
Correct.
And 2023, I think it's of 60% is the last thing I saw. And so, again, like my last example is the CIA did bad things against American citizens in 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, but they're not going to do it anymore. They wouldn't do it in the 2020s.
No
They've
way.
only done it for the last 70 years, right? So I think Americans are finally waking up to this point where it's like, it seems more plausible now than clearly it did in the past that maybe, just maybe, Matt, the election really was stolen.
Allegedly. You do.
Allegedly.
If you are sick of the way things are done, if you want change, I think there's only one option. Again, you may not like the way he speaks. You may not like his rhetoric. Poll finds 65% of Republicans say they don't believe.
That's 2021. You keep going back in time, bro.
If you don't like the way things are done, if you are anti-establishment, anti-government control, if you don't want the United States to become another version of China, there's only one option out there. It's not the best option. It's not your favorite option. It's not the person you may necessarily love or want to leave your children with. I don't know. However, it's the only option. And I think people need to realize that is that it's not about who do I think is best at the job. It's who is the only person that is in the running to even try to do this job. It's binary. You have Biden or you have Trump. That's it. The media will tell you that other people have a chance. No one has a chance. No. It's Biden or it's Trump. Biden is the establishment. He's been in Congress. He's been in that swamp for 50, 60, 70 years, right? He's a part of King Obama. He's a part of the Clintons. He's a part of the Bushes. He's a part of all these people that lied about all the wars, that spend all your money, that do one thing and tell you to do another thing. This is the group of people that are in charge. You either vote for that or the only person that's the outlier and different.
Man.
That's it. And that sucks because some people say, I don't like Trump. Great, you don't like Trump.
What's your other option?
There's no other option.
Yeah.
It's either you comply and you plug in and you eat bugs for the rest of your fucking life, or you pick one guy that will at least try to give you some meat.
Maybe give you some meat, but again, I think time will reveal this. But man, Trump could be the biggest letdown.
Could be
of human history.
Could be.
I hope he isn't that. But if he isn't a letdown, that means then he has succeeded in dismantling the swamp, which at some level, not probably the whole thing, but understand my point is like, does dismantling our current system, is that a good thing too? Is that the other option? Like, how bad could it be? Maybe it's one of those things that we don't understand the machinations of how dysfunctional the system is, but how necessary it is. So if we just dismantle it, it could become worse. I don't know, man. I don't know.
If we were to dismantle it and we have 4 years of Trump and he's unsuccessful in doing what he does, in 4 years, they'll just put it back to where it was.
It's not wrong.
The biggest risk is that we have 4 years of chaos. The upside is that we change the way things are done. The downside of not doing it is that we have no chance to change the way things are done, and we just concede that this is our life forever.
So you're basically saying is stick with the devil I know, or vote for the devil I don't know.
Correct. And me, I'm a gambling man. I'm willing to take a shot.
So
I'm willing to take a
you're-
chance for hope for something better.
So you're telling us today then that you're going to be voting for Trump in the next election cycle.
Yes. Yes. I cannot see any way that I vote for the people that have lied to us constantly.
Some would argue that Trump is very much part of that. He's just a different vantage point of that system. And
Could be, but again, there's no third option.
You're making it very cut and dry.
There's no third option. There just is not a third option.
There was never a third option.
Correct. It's either the establishment and the unapologetic establishment. We are who we are, and we're going to do what we do.
That's pretty much how it's been, aside from Trump.
Correct.
For the last basically 4 decades of our lives.
Or the guy that even though he's a part of the establishment, at least says, I'm not.
At least
These are your choices
At
in
least
life.
lie to us a little bit is what
Yeah.
you're saying?
These are your choices.
At least make us feel like there's some hope.
And if you just want to give up, I like the direction of the country. We are racist.
Yes.
Right? Inflation is not real.
Yes.
There is no problem at the border.
That's right.
We love giving money to Ukraine.
We're not being invaded right now.
We truly believe that men can be women, women can be men. We believe that being good at your job is not important and that your diversity is more important, that equity and equality are different. If you like these ideas, stick with the guys that are in charge. It is what it is.
Yeah.
If that's what you really believe, I mean, I can't change your mind. If you're like, something smells weird and I don't like the way this is going, there's no other option.
Something smells like shit in here.
Yeah.
It fucking smells like shit.
There's no third option. And it sucks.
It does
It'd be
suck.
great if we could have a third party that at least tries to do something differently. It'd be great if that was a reality of our lives. It's just not.
Sounds like
A or B.
Sounds like
Binary.
Let's see. 2024 is going to be the election cycle, right? 2024, 2028, maybe 2028. Matt Kemp for president.
I would not be able to handle it.
Why?
It's not possible.
Every single picture you see of like incoming president and then the end of their presidency, they've aged like 50x faster than everybody else. Like it's there's no win in that game.
You really need to love that spotlight. You have to. You have to. You have to be. All presidents have to have a certain level of narcissism that's just ingrained in them. And we say, oh, Trump's narcissist. No, they're all narcissists.
Oh yeah,
That's why they want to be in charge.
yeah.
And also, that's how they're able to be in charge because they're that personality.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
oh, I don't like Trump. He's a narcissist. I don't like this guy. He's not. No, like
No.
all the people in those positions at that very top are those types of people.
Exactly.
So if you don't like that about him, it's true for everyone. Just put that part aside.
Get the fuck out of politics.
That's so like, I don't like him. He's so narcissist. Like, that's the dumbest thing ever. Of course he's a narcissist.
Everyone in politics is narcissist.
Yeah, that's why he wants to be in charge of the fucking world.
Exactly. And even if it's your local politician, they think they know better how to
Yeah.
run your life than you do. That's why they want to be in power.
And that's what you want. You want someone that's willing to take charge, that's willing to take that risk, that wants to put those values and whether it's right or wrong, willing to make those decisions.
And you just hope and pray that their decisions align with yours.
Correct. If you had a president that considered everybody's feelings, he would never get anything done.
Never.
You want someone that has some sort of plan, that has some sort of authority, and that is able to make decisions quickly. You have to.
They have to be at some level principled enough that their principles guide their decisions, because most politicians have zero principles, which is why they're so wishy-washy and they just flip-flop from one idea to the next, because it doesn't fucking matter. Integrity to them doesn't matter.
Somehow, this episode became a vote for Trump episode. Not my point.
But Matt is also talking to someone who doesn't vote. So
Correct.
We're not being super biased here. We're not trying to force your opinions on anything. Matt's going to be voting for Trump next cycle. I'm going to be hanging out doing nothing.
Anti-establishment, anti-big government, anti-people sitting in their restaurant booths in the corner in the dark telling me how to live my life. That is what I'm against. And I am willing to take a chance on someone that at least wants to try to make a difference. That's it.
I can live with that.
Hope everyone has a great week. Thank you, everyone. And join us on the Discord to hang out and talk more.
Subscribe, smash the like button. See you guys.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.